There's nothing like jumping into a Fortnite Battle Royale, running around, getting into building wars, and discovering the massive map. But have you ever wondered what the world of Fortnite would actually be like if it was real life? Well, we have, and it's not all health, healing campfires and Durrburgers. The place would be a mess. So join us and learn exactly how the world of Fortnite would give us some major problems in real life. Trust us, you won't be dabbing or doing the floss by the time it's over. Worldwide threats. The world of Fortnite seems like a never-ending array of terrible and life-threatening events, something we would dread in the real world. Never mind the massive storms that go over the island and would always cause major problems, but there always seems to be some type of apocalyptic event going on. There's massive rocket launches, rifts in the sky, and giant cubes plopping down out of nowhere. Zombies invaded, aliens invaded, and who could forget the Season 9 Devourer, who burst out of the ice peaks and went on a rampage over the island. The destruction caused by the Devourer alone would be enough to keep us locked inside for a very long time. Plain and simple, the frequency of these events would not be something to look forward to or live stream. Lives would end, the world would change, and we would probably commission a whole lot of mecha warriors to keep us safe. And forget the monsters, people couldn't even resist a giant cube, probably throwing themselves into the side just to see where they landed. In Fortnite, we would usually be counting down the arrival of a new event, but in the real world, we would live in fear of the next event's arrival.
I guess this is the end, old buddy.
I don't want to die in my underwear.
Changing worlds. Imagine if every couple of months the whole geography of our world changed and was never back to normal again. Goodbye, Rhode Island. Just kidding. Kind of. Well, this is a world we would live in if Fortnite was real life. One day there's a dusty depot, and the next there's a whole crater in its place. Sure, we're used to construction and changes all the time, but not at the rapid pace the game can make these changes. I mean, just look at the map comparisons between Seasons 1 and 9. The whole place started out great, a beautiful island filled with lush land and places to explore. Then, all of a sudden, there are volcanoes, snowy areas, and the loot lake became completely solid. A whole desert suddenly appeared, a racetrack was put in, and Google Maps really would have a lot of hassles with all the sudden changes. There's nothing like hanging out with some of your best friends only to have your hangout spot completely obliterated. The map changes are often dramatic, out of control, and would result in all types of problems in the real world. People would fight for control over property, and whoever owned the Viking ship would probably have a lot of questions when the thing just disappeared. Shopping cart stunts. Imagine going to your local grocery store to pick up some food only to find there's no shopping carts left. The carts are literally scattered around the town, with no tracking device or care where they actually are. Despite all the new vehicles and items introduced into Fortnite over the years, shopping carts could present some major problems in real life. In the game, the carts are often used for downhill stunts, something we've seen on the Johnny Knoxville MTV show over the years. In real life, these stunts would be done on a much larger scale. You could go for a hike in the woods, run into a random shopping cart, and find yourself cruising downhill at top speeds. What's one thing that could make the public use of shopping carts even worse? Bounce pads. Like a trampoline on steroids, a bounce pad would cause some major issues in the real world, including a whole lot of broken legs due to larger-than-life jumps. The bounce pads would be nice for getting from one place to another, but we would just need a safe enough landing zone to make it all worthwhile. Fast food wars. In our real world, we've already dealt with all types of product wars. There's Coke versus Pepsi, McDonald's and Burger King, AT&T versus Verizon. Well, those wars are usually conducted in the form of deals, promotions, and fair pricing. In the world of Fortnite, the fast food wars between Durrburger and the Pizza Pit have culminated into a huge mess. As seen in the limited time food fight mode, these two businesses hold nothing back as loyal fans represent separate sides and a whole epic food war begins. Imagine that fight in real life as we all wear Burger King crowns and try to destroy a statue of the poor unsuspecting Ronald McDonald. There's nothing wrong with brand loyalty, but Fortnite takes things to a whole other level, and we don't need flash mobs showing up at the local McDonald's to declare a challenge. The mode itself was awesome, but fast food wars getting too out of control would be something we never want to see, especially if it threatens our chances of getting some crispy and fresh French fries. Dance lessons. Have you ever noticed how good everyone is at dancing in Fortnite? Whether we're the Carlton, the Turk, or the Hype, the way the characters emote is just perfect every time. Achieving such an impressive feat would probably require hours of dance lessons between each Battle Royale matchup. Just imagine being in a class with dozens of other people as you learn step by step how to properly perform the Orange Justice dance. Of course, it would be hilarious, but also a challenge we would all have to work like crazy to achieve. And then on top of all the dances, we would need to learn some of the more basic emotes and movements. Instead of English class in high school, our lessons would be like sign language learning as we all mastered movements like the dragon stance, dab stand, or the sign spinner. It would be fun to break out perfect renditions of these moves at any time, but the work to get there would be a huge commitment. Just processing this and we have a little more respect for all the intense moves featured on So You Think You Can Dance. Public transportation. It's pretty safe to say that we take our city buses and subway trains for granted, especially if all our public modes of transportation were replaced with the battle bus. We imagine not too many people would still be thanking the driver after we had to guess where our drop-off spot would be and had to jump out of the bus and glide our way down to the ground. In the game, cramming 100 people on the bus seems like no big deal, but with gliders, pickaxes, and other accessories, every single ride would be packed. Imagine going to a 5-day-a-week job and jumping out of a bus to reach your destination. Styling your hair would be nearly impossible, and the whole gliding aspect would be something we all had to learn and master because in the real world, it's not as easy as moving a joystick around. And no offense to the dedicated battle bus driver who's taken a countless amount of trips, but we've seen a few of those buses broken down in random locations on the Fortnite map, and the fear of crashing is definitely there. Maybe there's a secret boat or ferry offering trips to the island, because while 1 or 2 trips sounds fine, the daily battle bus rides are not for us. Owning a home. And speaking of the battle bus, can you imagine if you owned one of the homes in Fortnite and had to deal with the daily problem of people constantly landing on your roof? There are no property boundaries in Fortnite, and those homeowners are constantly struggling with invaders. Front doors are just pushed open, and even if they are locked, a pickaxe will easily tear them to shreds. Random strangers will find their way through your house, steal weapons, and even enter your attic to open the family's golden chest that you coveted for years. A few blasts and the whole house could even be blown to pieces. And then there's the players seeking to build up their inventory of materials and will do anything they can to get them, including tearing your walls down with ease. Even if you do get a chance to relax in your own home, the entertainment options are a little limited. The televisions display static, vague countdown messages, or random weather reports. Plus, the TVs themselves are old-fashioned and don't feature the best picture quality. We're guessing the real estate market would be in a major downfall, with houses costing pretty cheap, even in some of the fancier areas like Snobby Shores. Deforestation. Along with so many map changes and property issues, the whole world would have a deforestation problem. It only takes a few swings of a pickaxe to chop down a tree, and people hoarding up all the wood would clear out a whole forest in just a matter of minutes. And like the deforestation problems we deal with today, the scale would be much greater. National parks would be destroyed, animals would lose their homes, and the whole thing would feel like Dr. Seuss's Lorax all over again. Climate change would be far worse, and there would be people jumping into battle royales just to protect the trees. And what's all this for? Just so people could build wooden ramps and small towers to hide themselves in? And half the time, these wooden structures are just abandoned or destroyed. Definitely not worth the time it takes for a tree to grow and thrive. And like we mentioned before, if it's not the trees getting taken down, it's fences, houses, barns, and any other structures we could mine supplies from. World of sports. When people aren't using their pickaxes to chop down all of our precious trees, those same tools would double as some important gear in the wide world of sports. There's no denying it now. One of our most boring real-world sports is golf. It's a little slow and misses a lot of the compelling drama that events like a football or basketball game represent. Well, the best way to change this is by introducing the world of Fortnite golf. From any location on the map, it's easy to pull out your axe, take a swing, and watch the ball go flying. In the game's creative mode, players have created some pretty epic courses, including designs we would love to play in real life. The use of pickaxe in sports and giant battle royale competitions may take away from the sports we know and love now. Who needs the NBA when you can pull out a basketball toy and take a shot at any time? Besides the battle royale challenges, there's also been snowball fights. We would love to watch an epic ESPN-produced snowball fight any day. Many people already choose playing Fortnite over watching sports, so a lot of the traditional sports would probably fade away in favor of these Fortnite games. Chug juice problems. Imagine if you were injured, feeling low, or just wanted a little pick-me-up. Well, in the game of Fortnite, it's easy to crouch down behind the tree and have a tasty chug jug, slurp juice, or even a shield potion. While the liquids are great in the game, we imagine they would cause some major issues in real life. Mainly, there would be a lot of addiction problems. Just like people looking to get their Starbucks caffeine fix, Chug Jug sales would be through the roof. People would be slurping it up on a daily basis. There's one positive to the Chug Jug dilemma though. Flu season would be a lot easier to manage. Feeling sick? Just have some of the Chug Jug and then follow up with a shield potion to ensure you don't catch the flu from anyone else. It would save a lot of time and hassle from the doctor's office, and hospitals would be far less crowded. Of course, the introduction of Chug's Splash would cause a lot of problems for parties as well. Imagine you're at a party and a sudden burst of Chug Splash is tossed out into the open, basically forcing people to inhale the health healer. This is like NyQuil on a whole other level, and there would be no Chug Jug vending machines or random bottles of the stuff just lying around. Yeah, Fortnite wouldn't work out so well in the real world. So let's just stick to the game we know and love for now. Was there any major problems we missed? What was your favorite entry? Let us know in the comments, and stick around The Gamer for more great video game content. We're releasing new videos every couple of days. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with the channel.